Good morning, all, and welcome to this session. Before we get started, we will get started in terms of the what we have for the program. We'll just ask one of our broker representatives, Stephanie, Gustave Antoine, to just give a little blessing. I know this is something that the schools are accustomed to, and so even though it's not on a program, we'll just ask her to say a little prayer for the proceedings ahead. Stephanie.
Okay. Good day, everyone.
Okay.
Heavenly Father, we bring to you our proceedings today. We pray that you will bless our minds. Let us be open to the ideas that will be exchanged today. Lord, we pray that at the end of this exercise that we will have touched every individual and that we will all come out wiser and more knowledgeable. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. And welcome, everyone. My name is Yuluka Amni Brown, Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange. I'm representing, and I'll invite the Managing Director of the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange to bring you some welcome remarks on behalf of the exchange, as well as the Planning Committee. The Planning Committee is a collaboration effort to this initiative. And so we have members of the broker representatives, the ECSC, and the Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulatory Commission as well. Thank you, Mr. Blake.
Okay, good. Thank you, Mrs. Amni Brown. Good morning to all. The members of the Planning Committee, teachers, education ministries, officials, students, all. I am delighted to welcome you all to this morning's educational webinar as we launch the inaugural Regional Schools Investment Competition. This competition is a part of a wider education and outreach program stemming from a strategic thrust to create greater awareness of the securities market and to promote the investment in securities. In keeping with our strategic objectives at the ECSE, we are seeking to cultivate a culture of investing and to develop the capability for healthy trading among the youths of our region. To this end, in partnership with the Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulatory Commission and the network of licensed broker-dealers, those operating in the Eastern Caribbean securities market, more specifically, the Bank of Nevis, the Bank of St. Lucia, the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, First Citizens Investment Services, the Grenada Cooperative Bank, and the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank. We have created this regional investment competition in which high school and college students across the ECCU will be exposed to the securities markets and to investing. The competition is designed as a dynamic learning experience for the participating students to enable them to gain awareness of the markets and of the benefits of investing. They'll also explore the process of investing and how to safely invest. And we trust it will ignite in them a passion for healthy investing so that they will go on to become active investors in the future and create wealth. The competition, which will run through March, will be held in two parts. Firstly, there's the intra-country competition, where the schools in each country will compete among themselves, and then the winning school from each country will enter the regional competition, where they will vie to become the regional champion. Today, we kick off the competition with this regional educational webinar in which the students will be provided the critical information to prepare them for the exercise. Presentations will be made on the fundamentals of investing, the securities markets, and the actual process of investing, all prerequisite for entering the competition. This will be followed by the competition briefing, in which the teams and the facilitators from the respective schools will be introduced and the rules of engagement will be explained. After these preliminary sessions, the actual competition will begin in earnest on Monday. I am excited about this. I can barely wait for the competition to begin to see how the teams perform. Who knows, we might see the Warren Buffetts of the future emerge from this competition. We have been anticipating this for some time and are very pleased and relieved that it is being rolled out today. The launch today is the result of considerable effort that has intensified over the last few months, and I applaud the indefatigable efforts of all who toiled to bring it to fruition. This includes the planning committee, led by our business development executive at the ECSE, Mrs. Ebony Brown, and the other members of the staff of all of the collaborating institutions, the officials of the ministries of finance across the currency union, and the principals and business studies faculty of the participating schools and colleges. Lastly, and most importantly, I applaud and congratulate the students who have volunteered or who have been volunteered to participate in the competition. I wish you all the best and hope that you find it an instructive and rewarding experience and that you have fun. I look forward to seeing the results. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. I just want to deal with a few housekeeping matters before we get into the presentations. So as you see, we have the setup as a meeting setup. So each person can speak. So we need to make sure that everybody's mics are muted so that this session goes smoothly. We ask that if you have a question, you either place it in the chat. We'll try to monitor the chat, as well as there's the option, the raise hand option at the bottom of your screen. So you can also raise your hand to ask questions. There will be sections in the presentation where the presenters may ask questions. And in that scenario, please use the raise hand feature. We will try our best to select those raising hands first, but there are quite a few persons on the screen. So please have patience with us. The session is recorded, and we will be providing a recording as well as the slides to the schools to reference. So there were a couple of schools indicating that they couldn't attend today, so they will receive all of you will receive the video as well as the presentation slides, so you can reference at a later time. We also have some material to send to you. So all of the additional material that we need to send to you, we'll get that to you by the end of today, latest first thing in the morning. But you'll hear more about those details as we go through. So I just wanted to let you know some of those housekeeping matters. And I will go straight ahead to the program and invite our presenter, Ms. Stephanie Gustave-Antoine. She is from Bank of St. Lucia, and so she will be presenting on investing fundamentals.
I'm in a presentation now. Hello, good day, everyone. It is indeed an honor to present today. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so I'll introduce myself. I am Stephanie Gustave-Antoine, a fund manager with Bank of St. Lucia. And today I will be walking you through investing fundamentals. I will try to keep my language as easy as it is for you to understand, because I hope that at the end of this presentation, you will have gathered some knowledge that you could use in this competition and further in your life. Please do not let me talk to myself, so there will be a few questions that I will ask. Please feel free to chime in, okay? Okay, so today my presentation, I will walk you through saving and investing, and I'll provide you with the difference between saving and investing. I will then introduce you to the concept of compounding. Then we will go through different types of investment products, the risk versus the return of investing, and I will end by looking at risk management and what is meant by diversification. Okay, so let's start. The difference between saving and investing. So when you think of saving, you probably think of placing your money in a bank account or in a credit union account and putting it away for some time in the future. So what would typically happen when you have a job or when you earn income is you would spend what you need, and that would be your consumption, and what is left is what you would save. So when you place that money in an account, there is minimal risk of you losing it. Investing, on the other hand, refers to you using those funds to purchase an asset that will generate returns for you, traditionally higher than your typical savings. As you own the asset, you are able to collect the income that it generates. For example, a simple example, you purchase a house, so the house is your asset. The rent you would get if you, okay, so it's a residential property, sorry. So you purchase this house for you to put up for rent. So the house is your asset, and every month when your tenants pay you, you would get rental income. Further, the fact that you own this house should appreciate in value. So if at any point you sell the house, you would gain from the sale, because the price that you buy the house at, this is the price that you sell the house at, there should be some increase. So you would make two sources of income there. You would make your rental income, plus you would get what we call capital gains, which is from the sale of the property. So saving versus investing, the differences regarding your risk. So saving is generally low risk, whilst investing, there is significant risk, but it can go from low to high risk. The returns are also different. So with saving, similar to your risk, you have low risk, you expect low returns. Compared to investing, it depends on what you invest in. There's potential for you to make high returns. So what's the importance of saving and investing? So both saving and investing would allow you to accumulate the funds that you need to achieve your future goals. These future goals can be anything from home ownership to owning your own business, buying a car. So saving and investing will allow you to build that wealth that you need to achieve those future goals. However, developing a good savings habit will help you to learn to manage your income, and it's the first step towards financial security. Saving, putting your money aside monthly, also allows you to build what we call an emergency fund. And this emergency fund will be used if you ever have any unforeseen events come. So let's say you have car problems and you need a part for a car. That can be costly. So this emergency fund will be what you would tap into at any point if you need funds. An emergency fund can also be used if you lose your job at any point and you need to maintain your living. Health, unfortunately, these things come up, your health issues. So you get sick and you have this expensive procedure that you need to fund. This is where you would tap into your emergency fund. Investing, on the other hand, is more long-term. So there's potential for healthy long-term returns. And this is where we start discussing wealth building, which is very important at your age, because I don't think you're ever too young to start considering the legacy that you want to build. And at your age, you have all the potential in the world. As you get older, that potential decreases, unfortunately. But as you're young, you're full of potential and you can start thinking of what legacy you want to build on. And investing can allow you to build a wealth to fund that. Investing allows you to grow your funds greater than the rate of inflation. And even if you might not know the definition of inflation, I'm sure after last year, we all felt the effects of inflation. So inflation happens when you go to the supermarket and you see one week, the same chips, the same Cheetos you used to buy for $2 is now almost $3.50. That's inflation. So inflation represents the increases in price over time. So investing will allow you to build your funds to grow faster than those prices will increase. So now I'm going to introduce you to the concept of compounding. So when you invest, your returns compound. And what that means is you will gather interest on interest, which means the more time that you give the investment, the more that it will grow. So this example that I have, I think it's quite interesting. What it's showing is that, okay, let's say you leave school and at the age of 21, you start working. So if at 21 you decide, okay, every month I'm going to invest $100. Now, this investment of $100, let's say it's growing at a rate of 5%, which is reasonable at this time. So at the end of the first year, you would have saved $1,200, right? So this is age 21 here on my graph. Now, what I'm showing you is that to the point of retirement at age 65, which is a total of 44 years. So let's say you save $100 every month for your whole working life. So compounded over that 44 years at retirement, you would have accumulated $271,687. So by simply starting that habit so early, that is what you would have accumulated at the point of retirement. So you're an early investor. You understand, because you've been through these sessions with us, and you understand the importance of starting early. Now, the typical investor, sadly, waits until they're in their 30s when they realize, okay, guess what? I'm getting old and I need to think of retirement. So the typical investor, the late investor, starts at the age of 31. Now, at the age of 31, you're making more money, fair. So you decide that instead of investing $100 a month, you're going to invest $200 a month, because you realize, okay, I'm a little behind. I should have started at 21. I'm starting at 31. Now, what we're going to see is, even if you double that investment that you make monthly, at retirement, you still would not have caught up to what you would have been at if you started at 21. So at 65, you would have accumulated, one second, let me get the numbers, $211,995. So almost $60,000 less, even if you doubled the monthly investment. So that shows you the importance of starting early and being consistent in your investing. Next, I will introduce you to the types of investment products. And I'm sure you have heard some of them. Some of them, you might not know the definition, but you would have heard of them before. So the most common types, we're looking at your stocks, your bonds, and your mutual funds. And I will go through each one of those to give you a short definition of what it is. Try to explain each one to you. So your stock, what is a stock? So companies need funds to fund different projects. Let's say they want to expand their business, they would need funds. And sometimes it is cheaper to go this route rather than go to the bank and get a loan to do it. So what the company would do is it would issue stocks to generate those funds. Now, because you invest in the company, you actually own the company. So a stock represents a fraction of ownership. So you actually invested in how the company performs, which is why it is so important when you're choosing your stocks to invest in that you fully understand the company that you're going to invest in. And I don't think you're too young to have that information, because there's some intuition behind it. So you need to understand what value the company brings. So when you think of stocks to invest in, you would hear about the Apples and the Amazons and the Googles. And these stocks, yes, they're of great value, but there are many more options available. And within our region, there are several stocks available on the ECSE. So you can look at your bank stocks. So ECFH has stocks available, or you can look into your utility companies. So in our St. Lucian context, you would look at Lucilec. If you're in St. Vincent, you look at Vinlec, Domlec. You would look at those utility companies and you would say, okay, is it worth me investing my funds in them and becoming an owner, a part owner of the company? So these are what your stocks are, your ownership of the various companies. Now we'll go on to bonds. I have a very short video and I hope it plays along with me. It's been given a little issue today, but let's see. So this video will explain.
Bonds are a common investment. However, to many investors, they remain a mystery. So let's explore what a bond is and how it
I'm sorry, I don't know why it's sticking. Okay, let's go.
might benefit your investment portfolio. A bond is simply a loan given to a company or government by an investor. By issuing a bond, a company or government borrows money from investors, who in return are paid interest on the money they've loaned. Companies and governments issue bonds frequently to fund new projects or ongoing expenses. Some investors use bonds in hopes of preserving the money they have while also generating additional income. Bonds are often viewed as a less risky alternative to stocks and are sometimes
I'm sorry, I don't know why I stopped playing. Been giving issues the whole day. Anyway, so a bond is different from a stock in the way that it's created. So the bond generally promises you a certain level of return, whereas the stock, you own the company and what you get back, your dividend, is dependent on how the company performs. With a stock, the company agrees that, with a bond, sorry, the company agrees that it will pay you generally a fixed interest rate. Every quarter or every year, they will pay you for that investment. The third type of investment product that we will look at is a mutual fund. So the mutual fund is quite exciting because what it allows is it allows small investors to be able to pull their funds and send those funds off to a fund manager who is able to invest in those securities. So the fund owns those securities. These securities generate returns, and these returns are passed back to investors. Because in some instances, the cost of investing in stocks and bonds might be prohibitive. It might require large amounts of funds to start. So let's say you do not have the 10,000 to be able to invest in bonds or in stocks. A mutual fund would allow you to come in, let's say 10 of you, you each put $1,000, you put this money to a fund manager who will then invest in a wide array of securities on your behalf. And then you would be able to get the returns from those securities. So what it does, it reduces the initial investment that you would need to place. Just to break it up, I'm going to start asking a few questions. So based on my presentation so far, I want somebody to fill in the blank for me. A dash fund. No, this one is too easy because the word is still there. Let me look for a next question. Next question. What is the uncertainty or the potential for losses? Can anybody provide me with what term would capture the uncertainty or the potential for losses with investing?
Nigger. Yeah, press the arrow. What arrow? You need to press the thing underneath.
Anybody?
Reminder that you all would need to raise your hand. Okay, I see a hand raised. I'm unmuting. I see Marva Daniel.
Cash risk company.
Would the answer be risk?
Yes, it is. Thank you very much. I'm very proud of you. So yeah, so your risk would capture the uncertainty and the potential for losses in an investment. So now this question segues perfectly into my next slide. So we're going to look into risk versus return. So I'm sure you heard that there's no gain without risk, right? So it's the same with investing. You have to accept some level of risk when you invest. So all investments entail a level of risk. And that risk is the potential that you can lose some or all of your funds, unfortunately. But the good thing is that different investment products have different levels of risk. So depending on the investment product that you choose, you can decide the amount of risk that you will tolerate. So this graph that I have below shows very simply the relationship between risk, your expected risk, and your potential return. So we see at the bottom, the lower end, you have low risk, low return, low risk.
Stephanie,
Yeah.
I'm seeing the mutual fund slide. I don't know if everybody else is seeing that as well.
Sorry. Hmm. One second, let me just share. Is it on the right slide now? Is it on risk versus return now?
No, Stephanie.
Okay, sorry. Let me stop sharing and try again. I don't know what happened. Apologies. Are we there now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm happy. So yes, at the bottom here, we can see that cash. So holding cash, there's little return that you will get, and there's little risk because the cash is in, you are holding your money. So then we move on to the fixed interest, which would be your bonds. So bonds are generally fairly low risk and also fairly low potential return. Then we move on to property, which would include your real estate. And then we move on to shares. So we can see comparatively, if you look at your shares versus your bonds, remember your bonds would be fixed interest. We can see that your shares or your stocks in the company would be higher risk, but also higher return. And we went through that. And the reason is because if you own a company, you also own the risk that the company does not perform well. So you end up with potentially higher returns, but also higher risk. So what we need to learn to do with investing is how to manage that risk, because the risk is inherent. The risk will exist. You cannot escape the risk. But there are ways that you can create your portfolio, and your portfolio simply is the different investments that you have. So you have different bonds and different stocks, and all of them together would be referred to as your portfolio. So when you're crafting your portfolio, when you're setting up your portfolio and you're choosing what you want to put into it, which is a very exciting process, there are different ways that you can craft it to keep your risk down if at the point in your life you do not think that you can lose that funds. I mean, your risk tolerance can change depending on where you are in life. As you're young, you're probably capable of taking more risk compared to somebody who is closer to retirement and they're not able to continue earning. So they would be lower risk. So the way that you can control your risk is through diversification. So this is an important term that you will need for both your exercise and in life. And diversification is simply the principle of not putting all of your eggs in one basket. That's what it captures. If you can understand that, then you understand diversification. So instead of putting all of your investments in one company, let's say you have $1 million and you put all of it in that one company. If tomorrow you turn on the news and you hear that company goes down, your whole body will hit you. Compared to you say, okay, I'm going to put 10,000 in this company or even 100,000 in this company. I'm going to put 100,000 in bonds of this government. So when you hedge, you know, okay, your money is spread out. So diversification is spreading your money, but you have to know how to do it. So there are different levels of diversification. So there is diversification by geography. And what this means is you wouldn't necessarily invest all of your funds in one country or one region. So let's say you're St. Lucian, right? And you make your funds in St. Lucia. Would you put all of your money in the government of St. Lucia? What if a hurricane hits the St. Lucia, the island, and the island is gutted, meaning the government needs to fund all of that rehabilitation and to get the infrastructure back up? That is a great risk to you. So instead, you would say, okay, based on how St. Lucia is performing, how the tourism industry is doing, I think they're doing okay. I'm going to put 15% of my portfolio in St. Lucia. But the US, I think they're doing good. I think they've just missed the recession. They're slowing down, but it's okay. I'm going to put 20% in the US. What other countries can you think of? you might say the UK, they've not been performing so well. So you say, okay, maybe I'll do 5%. So you diversify your portfolio by geography. And the other way you can diversify your portfolio is by region. So you can look at the whole Caribbean region and say, I'm only going to put 25% in that Caribbean region, because if a hurricane hits those islands, a lot of them can get potential damages. So I'm going to put 25% in the Caribbean region, and then I'm going to put 15% in the EU, 10% in North America, 10% in South America. So you diversify by region. And then you can also look at diversifying by developed versus developing countries. So developing countries offer potentially higher returns, but remember what we learned about potentially higher returns. They come with potentially higher risk. So because they're growing, they offer potentially higher returns, but significant risk comes with that. So you might want to play it safe and stay in the developed countries where you know their economies are more stable, they have established systems that govern how things happen. So you have to consider all of these things when you're developing your portfolio. Beyond that, you want to consider the maturity. And maturity simply means the time to collect your principal. So do you want to be in an investment where you have to wait 10 years for your money, or depending on where you are in life, you might want the money in the next year? What if you're buying a house? So you have to diversify your portfolio so that you can always be collecting funds. So you have different instruments maturing at different times. Beyond that, we're going to consider diversifying by asset class. So are we going to put all of our money in the stock market? And then when we hear there's a stock market crash, we lose significant amount of funds. Or are we going to say, you know what, I'm going to also invest some in bonds, because remember I said that bonds are potentially lower risk. So are we going to put all of it in this high risk assets, or are we going to diversify by different asset classes? So all of these questions you need to ask yourself when you are crafting your portfolio, both for this exercise, and I hope in the future when you become your young investor self, when you're crafting your own personal portfolio, that you consider all of these things. Do I have any questions at this point? This ends my presentation, and I'll take any questions that you have. And I have a few of my own, so you should shoot yours first. Any questions? Raise your hands if you have any questions. Going once, going twice. Okay, my questions now. So based on my presentation, can somebody tell me what is the term used for the spreading of risk among several investments? That's a very easy question, but I need to see many hands. Okay, I see some more.
Virtual High School.
Diversification.
Diversification, very good. At least I know I was not speaking to myself. Very good. Next question. Put your hands down so we can give everybody an equal opportunity to answer. Okay, so what is the term for an asset or item acquired with the goal of generating income or appreciating over time? I gave you an example of this, so you should know. What is the term for an asset or an item that you acquire with the goal of generating income or appreciating over time? What is that called? Anna Henry, you can unmute. Anna Harry, sorry.
Investment.
Very good, thank you. And the last question, also an easy one. So fill in the blanks. This fund is an investment instrument that allows multiple investors to purchase securities. Okay, I see Joseph Charles.
Mutual funds.
Very good, thank you. So these are all of my questions. At least I know that some things were picked up. I'm very happy about that. So here ends my presentation. Again, I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask any questions. If not, thank you for having me. It was indeed an honor. Enjoy the rest of the exercise. Bye-bye.
Okay, great. Moving right along, because we know that you all have a lot to do as students and teachers. So we'll try to make sure that we get moving along. So the next presentation I will give, it's on investing in securities. Investing in the securities market. So I'm just going to share my screen now. Is everybody hearing me okay? Because I know there was a message in the chat indicating I should turn up my mic. Is it okay now?
Yes, we hear you.
Great. Okay, everybody seeing my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, so the next presentation is about investing and the securities market. So let me just move this. Are you seeing this on my screen? Let me just move off my screen. Okay. So what we will learn today, we will learn about what a security, so we'll be able to answer the question, what is a securities market? We'll learn about the Eastern Caribbean securities markets and the market infrastructure and participants. And we'll also learn about the benefits of a regional securities market to the ECCU population and economies. ECCU, the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, all of us make up the populace of those islands. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so what is a securities market? So essentially, a securities market is like any other market where buyers and sellers meet to exchange goods and services. So in this instance, securities, in terms of the buyers, we're looking at investors. So you and I are the investors, and these are made up of individuals as well as companies who have money or capital to invest. And sellers are companies, governments, and other investors. So the products that they sell are called securities. So including stocks, bonds, and other financial products, which are exchanged for money. So Stephanie would have already gone through some of those securities. So you also, in addition to investing in things like property and land, which she explained, there's also the opportunity to invest in securities. And so how do you invest in securities? You have to invest in securities through the securities market. I'm just going to play a little video for you. So it gives you a little perspective again of what is a securities market. And it also gives you a little history of how securities markets started. You will hear the reference to stock market. So securities really started, the securities market started with stocks, and then it ventured into a number of securities, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and those are just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many securities today. So here's a little history of how it all started.
In the 1600s, the Dutch East India Company employed hundreds of ships to trade gold, porcelain, spices, and silks around the globe. But running this massive operation wasn't cheap. In order to fund their expensive voyages, the company turned to private citizens, individuals who could invest money to support the trip in exchange for a share of the ship's profits. This practice allowed the company to afford even grander voyages, increasing profits for both themselves and their savvy investors. Selling these shares in coffee houses and shipping ports across the continent, the Dutch East India Company unknowingly invented the world's first stock market. Since then, companies have been collecting funds from willing investors to support all kinds of businesses. And today, the stock market has schools, careers, and even whole television channels dedicated to understanding it. But the modern stock market is significantly more complicated than its original incarnation. So how do companies and investors use the market today? Let's imagine a new coffee company that decides to launch on the market. First, the company will advertise itself to big investors. If they think the company is a good idea, they get the first crack at investing and then sponsor the company's initial public offering, or IPO. This launches the company onto the official public market, where any company or individual who believes the business could be profitable might buy a stock. Buying stocks makes those investors partial owners in the business. Their investment helps the company to grow, and as it becomes more successful, more buyers may see potential and start buying stocks. As demand for those stocks increases, so does their price, increasing the cost for prospective buyers and raising the value of the company's stocks people already own. For the company, this increased interest helps fund new initiatives and also boosts its overall market value by showing how many people are willing to invest in their idea. However, if for some reason a company starts to seem less profitable, the reverse can also happen. If investors think their stock value is going to decline, they'll sell their stocks with the hopes of making a profit before the company loses more value. As stocks are sold and demand for the stock goes down, the stock price falls, and with it, the company's market value. This can leave investors with big losses, unless the company starts to look profitable again. This seesaw of supply and demand is influenced by many factors. Companies are under the unavoidable influence of market forces, such as the fluctuating price of materials, changes in production technology, and the shifting costs of labor. Investors may be worried about changes in leadership, bad publicity, or larger factors like new laws and trade policies. And of course, plenty of investors are simply ready to sell valuable stocks and pursue personal interests. All these variables cause day-to-day noise in the market, which can make companies appear more or less successful. And in the stock market, appearing to lose value often leads to losing investors, and in turn, losing actual value. Human confidence in the market has the power to trigger everything from economic booms to financial crises. And this difficult-to-track variable is why most professionals promote reliable long-term investing over trying to make quick cash. However, experts are constantly building tools in efforts to increase their chances of success in this highly unpredictable system. But the stock market is not just for the rich and powerful. With the dawn of the internet, everyday investors can buy stocks in many of the exact same ways a large investor would. And as more people educate themselves about this complex system, they too can trade stocks, support the businesses they believe in, and pursue their financial goals. The first step is getting invested. Interested in pursuing your own financial goals? Download a
Okay. So I hope that video gave you some perspective on the securities market and how it all evolved. So let's get into primary markets and secondary markets. So as part of the securities market, there's a primary market and there's a secondary market. Everybody's hearing me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I thought I heard somebody. Was somebody about to ask a question? Don't forget to mute your mics if you want to ask a question, just raise a hand. Okay, so primary market is essentially where companies or governments issue securities on the market for the first time. And remember, the video referenced IPO, initial public offering, and they offer securities for the first time to raise capital, as the video would have explained. So depending on what the companies the companies may want to expand their business into a different region, they may want to diversify their products, etc. So they need money to do so. So the securities market offers them that avenue through which they can raise capital. So they will issue securities for the first time onto the market. And investors will then purchase these new securities. So that's essentially what we refer to as primary market activity, where governments or companies issue securities onto the market for the first time and investors purchase these new securities. When we refer to secondary market, we're looking at when investors of existing securities. So if I purchased on the initially for when there was an IPO for a particular company, I may have had those securities. For whatever reason, I may want to sell my securities. Perhaps I'm ready to cash in, or perhaps I want to diversify and sell some of my securities so that I can have money to purchase a different set of securities. So I then go onto the secondary market where I can sell those securities to another buyer. So buyers are essentially other investors who go onto the securities market to buy those securities. So investors buy and sell existing securities. So the primary market is where the companies and governments first list and investors purchase those securities for the first time. Secondary market is where you can then sell those securities and other investors can purchase securities through the secondary market. So you're selling and buying existing securities. Now let's talk about our region. So we've talked about, and most of you may have heard of the New York Stock Exchange, or even the Jamaica Stock Exchange, Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, European Stock Exchange. We have an exchange here in our region, the ECCU region, right? And we have a market where businesses and governments can raise capital on this market, as well as we have the opportunity as an investor, people who live in this region, and not even just the people who live in this region, people from anywhere in the world can also invest on the securities market. So essentially, we have in 2001, so quite a long time ago, even though we are considered to be a young market, we set up the Eastern Caribbean Securities Market. We have securities legislation that was passed in all of the 8 ECCU member countries to be able to set up this market, the Eastern Caribbean Securities Market. And the market is regulated by the Eastern Caribbean Securities Commission. So the Eastern Caribbean Securities Commission ensures that all of the market players and participants essentially are doing things within the legislation that was passed. So they also protect investors, etc. Let me move this. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. Yeah. So first, we started with the Eastern Caribbean Securities Market, and that is essentially both a primary and secondary market for securities. Then in 2000, and we also have the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange, where I work. That's the actual platform, the actual securities exchange where the securities are traded. We also have the licensed intermediaries, and these are the broker-dealers. So we would have mentioned, Mr. Blake would have mentioned in his opening remarks that we have 6 licensed broker-dealers in our region. And of course, we're working to ensure that we can bring more on board. And these broker-dealers they're licensed by the ECSRC, so they're trained and licensed through collaboration between the ECSC and ECSRC. They're licensed to act as brokers in our markets. And so the investors, they go to the licensed broker dealers, and then just exactly how this particular competition is set up, where you as the investor, you provide your information to the broker, and the broker is the one then that places your trades onto the securities market, which is the securities exchange, sorry. Also the same way, these licensed intermediaries also assist businesses and governments in listing their securities on the market. So they assist the issuers as well. The issuer are those companies and governments that issue securities onto the market to raise capital. The Regional Government Securities Market, RGSM, that was launched a year following the Eastern Caribbean Securities Market. And this market is a primary market. Remember, we spoke about primary and secondary markets. This is a primary market for governments to issue their securities. So if the government government of Dominica, say, wishes to raise some funds, and they choose to do so through through our market and through the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange, they will go through the regional government securities market, which is regulated by the Regional Debt Coordinating Committee, and they issue those securities onto the market. The licensed brokers assist them in issuing it onto the exchange. The ECSM also a market for secondary trading for the RGSM. So when you purchase as an investor a government security, and then you want to sell it, you sell it on the Eastern Caribbean Securities Market through the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange. So it sounds like a lot of different parts, which it is, to this particular entity. So we have a market here in our region, which is legislated, and which we have a regulator overseeing all of the participants to ensure that everything is being done well. So even when the government is listing, or when the companies are listing, they have to first send all of their prospectuses, which is what they have to develop to indicate why they're raising the funds, what their companies are looking like, etc., profitability. All of that has to be approved by the commission before it even goes onto our market. So our market is considered to be a relatively safe market where investors can come and essentially participate in building and growing their wealth. So the licensed intermediaries are the brokers. We have the Eastern Caribbean Securities Market, which is the primary and secondary market for securities. And then the Regional Government Securities Market, which is the only primary market for government securities, and it is overseen by the Regional Debt Coordinating Committee. The Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange is essentially the stock exchange for the region. This is the platform where all trading, primary and secondary trading, takes place. Anybody has a question before I move on? I know this is a lot I try to create a visual so you could at least get a sense of what it is in our market. But we essentially, just like Toronto has a stock exchange, New York has a stock exchange, we also have a securities exchange in the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange, and the Regulatory Commission, Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulatory Commission, oversees our market and all of its activities. I see a Daniel Owen, and then we'll go to Joseph Charles. You can unmute your mic, Daniel Owen.
I would like to ask, is it possible for us to trade outside of the Eastern Caribbean market?
Beg your pardon? Can you speak a little louder?
Is it possible for us to trade outside of the Eastern Caribbean market?
To invest outside of the Eastern Caribbean securities market?
Yes.
Yes, that's possible. There are brokers all over. So if you wanted to invest in a stock exchange, and one of those things, that's one of the things Stephanie had indicated, sometimes you diversify your risk by geography. So in this case, it helps us diversify our risk by geography because, for example, a citizen of Antigua could invest in Lucilec, which is the electricity company in St. Lucia. So they diversify their risk, as well as they can also invest in a company in St. Kitts. So they are able to invest and diversify their risk geographically through this exchange. But as well, yes, you're able to invest outside of the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange, but you'll have to go through a broker in those countries. It's the same way that somebody from the United States, say somebody from Grenada who lives in the US, and they want to, invest in businesses and help businesses in our region, and they also want to diversify their portfolio, they can come into our markets as long as they go through a licensed intermediary broker, a broker dealer who is licensed to operate in our market. So the only licensed broker dealers licensed to operate in our market is the 6 ones that Mr. Blake had indicated before: Bank of St. Lucia, First Citizens Investment Services, Bank of Nevis, St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank, Grenada Cooperative Bank, and who am I missing? Oh, and Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Does that answer your question, Danielle? Okay, Joseph, Charles, and then we have, let's see, Ravina, Benjamin Lewis. So Joseph, Charles, I'm not sure which school that is.
This St. George's Institute.
Beg your pardon? Go ahead.
On the ECSE, do you have the option to short securities?
The short sell?
Yes.
I believe so, but I'll let a broker dealer, a licensed broker dealer answer that question. So I'll let one of the broker dealers, but before they answer that question, let me move on to the other question and then I'll get back to that one, okay? Next question. Ravina Benjamin Lewis. Ben Lewis.
Good morning, McDonald College. Can you trade without a broker?
No, you have to go through a broker to trade. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. And that goes for all markets. It's just that in some markets, some of the brokers are online. So there's like an online system set up, but there's always an intermediary that you have to go through to be able to trade. Daniel, do you have another question or is your hand still raised from the first one? Okay. I'm not seeing any other raised hands. Can one of the broker dealers answer that question about short sales on the market? We have several online. Any of you?
Can you repeat the question, please?
I think he wanted to know whether you can short sell on our market.
Hi, Yuluka. Good morning, everyone. It's Tizia from the ECSE. No, short selling is not allowed.
Okay, thanks, Tizia. Okay, so I don't see any more hands raised. So I'll move on to the next slide. So what are the benefits of our regional securities markets? Well, in terms of to issuers, so issuers such as companies and governments, it affords them the opportunity to raise funds. So yes, some businesses can go and get a loan to raise funds, or they can ask family members, etc. But this offers another avenue in which they can go and raise capital. Why is this a great avenue? Well, instead of, for example, a company in Anguilla just being able to tap into the Anguilla market, when you list on the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange, you're tapping into the market across 8 countries. And you're also tapping into the market because anybody, as I said, outside of the ECCU and the wider Caribbean can invest on our market once they go through a licensed intermediary. So those companies and governments, when they list securities, they IPO for the first time, they can tap into investors across several markets. So that's a benefit to them, of course, because it means that typically they can ensure that they have more persons to provide them with the capital that they need. Okay. In terms of the benefits to investors, well, investors, as we indicated, investment is an important thing for us. So yes, savings is wonderful, but savings is essentially maintaining your capital. They may be, depending on what instruments you use to save, like in terms of fixed deposits, etc., you may get a little bit of interest, but there's not much growth in that. So if you really want to achieve certain financial goals and you want to achieve it in a faster time, then it is prudent for you to invest some of your savings. So you have some set aside for emergencies. Once your savings start to grow, you can take a bit of your savings and start investing in securities. So it gives the opportunity to all of us in the region to be able to have that opportunity to invest in securities and grow our wealth and meet our financial goals. In terms of, in terms of the benefits to our economies, well, if we have companies and governments that are able to tap into the securities market to make sure that they have funds to fund their projects, then the more projects they have, the more they can fix our roads and ensure that we have good security, etc., the more the economies grow. It's the same thing when investors are able to grow their wealth through the securities market, then the more buying power and spending power they have, so that they can spend on a number of things in the region, which again bodes well for the growth of our economies. So that's essentially the benefits that this regional securities exchange and the market brings to the issuers, the companies and governments, the investors, individuals, and other institutions, because they do have companies also that invest, because they may have certain profits that they make at the end of the day. And instead of just keeping the profits only in a savings account, they use those profits to invest, to grow their monies, to make sure that they have, they grow their assets and they're able to then cash out on those assets when they need the money, etc. So let's recap. So I'm asking you now, what did you understand a securities market to be? Anybody wants to answer? What is a securities market? I see Sabrina. Go ahead.
The security market is where buyers and sellers meet to exchange goods and services.
Okay, and what type of goods and services for securities market? Daniel, you want to answer that? I'm not hearing you too well, Daniel. You come closer to the mic.
Yeah, all right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so security market, the way I understand it, like any other market, it's a market where buyers and sellers meet.
Right. I didn't hear the last part. No, I'm having difficulty hearing you going in and out. Okay, Daniel, I'm going to move on to Rayma because I'm not hearing you very well, but I heard the first part. It's a market which is similar to what the other young lady indicated, but I'm not hearing the second portion of your answer. So Rayma, you want to give it a shot?
Good morning.
Morning.
Security market.
Ooh, we're hearing some background noise. Okay, CCSS. You're still muted, okay.
A securities market is where buyers and sellers meet to exchange goods and services.
Right, so that's like any other market, but what's the difference with the securities market? What are the buyers and sellers? Who are the buyers? What are they called?
The buyers are investors,
right?
And the sellers are corporations or governments.
Okay, and what are they trading? What are they coming together to trade?
Coming together to trade stocks, bonds, or other financial products.
And what are those called? Chanel, what are those called? Stocks, bonds, and other financial products.
Securities.
Right, exactly. So good. So we had a nice collaborative effort there. So essentially, it's a place where buyers who are investors purchase securities from sellers, issuers, and other investors. And the issuers are governments and corporations, etc. You can lower your hands now. I have another question though. What is the name of the fully, and didn't really indicate it was fully electronic, but it is. What is the name of the fully electronic regional exchange in the ECCU where investors can buy and sell listed securities? Did you all take down your hands? I'll see Dominica Community College. Do you have your hand up for that? The name of the fully electronic regional exchange in our region where investors can buy and sell listed securities. Okay, Ravina.
Primary market.
Okay, no, that's not totally correct. It does involve the primary market though. It involves both the primary and the secondary market, but it's an exchange in the ECCU where investors can buy and sell securities both on the primary and secondary markets. Nikita?
Is it ECSRC, Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulation Commission?
Okay, so I guess I didn't explain that one as good as I thought I did. It's actually the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange. So the Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulatory Commission is the regulator. So they have oversight of the markets they have oversight of the ECSE, which is the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange, the intermediaries. They also make sure that, they license, they are the ones that approve all of the listed companies and the securities that are listed through the government. So they are the regulators, but the exchange, like a stock exchange. So when you hear Jamaica Stock Exchange, when you hear Trinidad Stock Exchange, for our region is called the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange. We are the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange is where securities are traded. It's a platform that securities are traded. Okay. What is the RGSM? Berkshire High?
Regional Government Securities Market.
Excellent. So the Regional Government Securities Market, and remember, the RGSM is actually a primary market where the governments issue or raise capital. So it's a primary market because they're issuing the capital there for the first time, but then they can, if an investor buys a security on the RGSM, they can sell the securities on the ECSM, which is essentially the ECSM and the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange is almost the same thing. So they're doing it on the platform of the exchange. So you can buy securities so they issue securities on the Regional Government Securities Market as all the government bonds and treasury bills and treasury notes, and then an investor can sell it on the exchange in the secondary market. Okay, is that what are the benefits of a regional securities market to investors? So I would have listed the benefits to investors, well, to issuers and companies. I would have listed the benefits to investors, and I would have listed discuss the benefits to the economies. What are the benefits of a regional securities market to investors? Anne-Marie? Anne-Marie Swan, you can unmute your mic. What are the benefits of a regional securities market to investors?
To raise money.
To raise money for investors?
Yes.
I guess that could be correct. Can somebody give me another answer? Chanel Basil? Sorry, not hearing you. I didn't hear you, Chanel.
It gives investors the opportunity to invest in securities.
Yes, so it gives the investors the ability, the opportunity to invest in securities. And why is it important that investors have the opportunity to invest in securities? What do they gain from investing in securities? Irene B. Williams?
They are lower risk. They are lowered risk.
Well, I wouldn't say it's lower risk because essentially there are a number of different there are different types of risk depending on the securities that you invest in, right? So it's not a wrong answer. It is I mean, really and truly the regional securities market, because it's regulated, it's a safe way to invest, but there are different levels of risk, as Stephanie would have gone through, depending on the type of security that you're investing in, okay? So essentially, let me just move this. Essentially, investors have an avenue through which they can invest their savings and grow their wealth toward achieving their goals. So investing allows you to grow your wealth. So having a regional securities market allows for investors that avenue where they can go and invest in a number of different securities so that they can grow their wealth and meet their financial goals. Okay, and that's it for me. Thank you so much, and thank you for participating. And we'll go straight on. We will have a little break after the session, but we'll go straight on to make sure we meet our time to the next presentation by Ms. Kishelle Francis, and she will just give you an idea of the process of investing. So we talked about the different types of securities. We talked about the securities market and particularly the securities market in our region and the securities exchange, and the importance of investing and the benefits to the various parties, the governments and companies, the investors, as well as overall economies. Now we'll get into the process of investing. So if you want to invest, what do you need to do in our region? Okay, I'll stop sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, Luca, and good morning to everyone. Let me just share my screen. So again, good morning to everyone, and thank you to my colleagues for taking us through the previous sections. In this section of the presentation, we will look at the process of investing via the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange. It is our hope that at the end of the presentation, you would have a basic understanding of the securities market and their operation, the securities markets and their operation. Now, the first step in the investing process is to seek out investment advice from a licensed broker-dealer. This investment advice can be given via a face-to-face or in-person meeting, or virtually via a voice or video call. Now, in these situations, the broker-dealer will be acting in its investment advisor capacity, right? They will make sure that they provide the information that's necessary to help you to make your investment decisions. And the flow of the conversation will be a bit different for each person or each investor. However, there are a few key areas that all conversations will cover. So first, we help you to clarify your investment objectives and goals. We take note of where you are and where you would like to be or where you would like to work towards. And we help you to develop a plan to get to that point. Then we will help you to determine your risk appetite, your time horizon, and so on. So in this way, we're able to really determine if you are an aggressive, conservative, or moderate investor. And if you expect to earn returns or the greatest returns in the long, medium, or short term. And of course, we will provide you with investment recommendations before we are through with the conversation or at some point thereafter. Now, it is expected that after your initial meeting with a broker-dealer, you would have some additional questions and would require additional clarification or guidance. And we are available to address these issues whenever they arise. So once you have all of the information that you require, you've spoken to your broker-dealer, you've done your own research, you can begin to select your securities. And on the market, we have two main types of securities, which are equities or shares or stocks. And we also have debt instruments in the form of treasury bills and bonds and notes. And generally, we refer to these loosely as stocks and bonds. I know we spoke to them earlier with Stephanie. So here we have a list of the shares traded on the market and their last closing price. Now, the last closing price is the price that the shares were last bought or sold for. We looked at the basics with Stephanie, so we can just delve into trading here, right? So let us say that you purchased 50 Bank of Nevis shares last year. And when you purchased it at that time, it was at a price of $3.50. And you realize today that the shares are now being sold at $3.75 per share. Now you may decide to sell those shares to make a gain on your investment, because remember you purchased initially for $3.50. Or similarly, if you were just monitoring the market and you found that the price increased from $3.50 to $3.75, as someone who does not own the securities, you might want to take the opportunity to purchase at this point, because you could interpret the movement of the price, the increase of the price from $3.50 to $3.75 as a signal of probably a good market and investor sentiment towards the entity. So of course, you might want to look at the financial statements, look at the profits, the cash flow, balance sheets, and so to determine whether or not in your opinion, of course, the price would continue to increase. And therefore you would decide to buy at that point, or you may decide to hold out on that investment. So you can just take a look at the list of companies here. And I'm sure you are familiar with some of the names, at the very least, the utility companies, right? So in Dominica, we have Domlec trading under the symbol DESL. And so in Lucia, we have Lucelec trading under the symbol SLES. In Grenada, we have Grenlec trading under the symbol GESL, all electricity services companies. Now, debt instruments are not covered in this competition, but we can look at them, just a little refresher, right? We know that with debt instruments, you are essentially lending your money to an entity. And for these instruments on the screen, the entities are different governments in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. So you lend your funds to the entity, and the entity promises to repay you the amount that you gave to them, plus an additional amount, which is your yield or your interest. Now, in addition to looking simply at the price, at the rate that you would get from these governments, it's important to look at the time or the tenor of the instruments, right? The maturity period. So we can see that they range here from 91 days to 365 days. But on our market, we have instruments with a maturity of up to around 10 years or so. So you can purchase and you can invest in these securities for as short as 91 days, as long as 10 years or so. Okay, so if you have large balances, let's say you are saving at a credit union or a bank, it's important before entering into debt instruments, debt securities, you compare the rates that you are receiving on those savings and fixed deposit accounts with those that the governments are promising you. So if you have a large balance, let's say on a non-interest bearing checking account or perhaps a low yielding savings account, you can consider using those funds in the securities market instead of just leaving it on those accounts with low interest rates or no interest rate, depending on the type of depending on the type of account you have. So now let us look at the first entry on the table. And we'll see that the government of Antigua and Barbuda is asking investors to lend them a total of $25 million for a period of 365 days. And that government is willing to pay each investor who lends them money an annual rate of 4.5%. Of course, we don't expect that one investor would come up with the 25 million, but anyone who lends would receive a rate of 4.5, or at least that is what the government is willing to pay. Now, these securities are issued by a competitive uniform price auction process. So while the government is willing to pay a maximum of 4.5%, the true rate will be determined by the interaction of demand, quantity, and rates, and the supply, which is fixed at 25 million. So these are the starting rates that the governments are prepared to pay, and not necessarily the ending rates. But in many cases, in some cases, the starting rate and the ending rate is the same. So you compare what the government is offering against what you currently have access to. Of course, we spoke to risk earlier. You must be compensated for the additional risk that you're going to be undertaking, the inflation, of course, and of course, the fact that you will not have access to those funds for this period of time unless you decide to trade on the secondary market. So those are things that you must consider before determining the minimum rate that you would accept. So now that you've already spoken to your broker-dealer, you understand the process of investing, and you have made a decision with respect to the securities you wish to purchase, you can move into the trading aspect. And trading is done through a broker-dealer, as Yuluka alluded to earlier. All trading is done by the broker-dealer on their client's behalf, and the process is pretty simple. You let us know the price that you would like to pay for the investment, the number of units that you would like to purchase or sell, and you put this information on your trade order form and you send it to us. Once we receive that trade order form and the funds required to purchase the instrument, if you are purchasing at that point, we will place your order on the market and await a trade. Once a trade is successful, then we will notify you by way of a letter or confirmation statement, and you can hold those for your records, right? Now, once you've completed the trading process and you have ownership of the securities, like you own those shares, you own your debt instrument, you will still need to continue to monitor the market. First, to take advantage of any profit-making opportunities that people $5 per share. This is an opportunity for you to make a gain of $4 per share. And of course, if you were not monitoring the market, you would not have been able to capitalize on that, right? So it is important that even if you have the securities, and even if your intention is to hold it for a longer period of time, it will make sense to continue to monitor the market just in case there is an opportunity for you to make a gain on the appreciation of the security upon disposal. Now, it is also important to attend the annual meetings for shareholders, and we call these meetings the annual general meetings. And the board of directors usually speak to the performance of the company and the future plans of the company. And of course, when dividend payments or interest payments are made, and they are usually made directly to your bank account or your credit union account, all right? So yes, you can receive your payment by a check, but it is usually a bit more efficient to have your payments sent directly to your bank or credit union account. So once you receive your dividend payments or your interest payments directly to your accounts, you can decide at that point whether you would like to spend it, save it, or invest those payments further, sorry. Now, securities are assets, so they can be transferred to others, such as your family members. You can donate them to a charity, or you can use them as collateral for your borrowings, such as loans. So while it may make sense to just hold on to your securities, you must also consider continuous trading and the use of your securities for any other investments that you would like to take on, which would require borrowing, right? So use of those securities as collateral for your loans. Okay, this brings us to the end of my presentation. Thanks again for your attention. And I think at this point, let me just ask one question. All right, so can anyone give me the utility companies on the market? The electricity companies on the market, the electricity companies listed on the market.
I see Irene B. Williams raising their hand first, and then Karen Lane, and then Anna Henry. But we can start with Irene B. Williams.
Sure, Irene.
Irene B. Williams, you'll have to mute your mic so they can hear the answer.
Okay, we can probably move on to the next person. And this is very, very, very easy, yeah? At least I think so.
Okay, let's try Bastia High School.
Okay, Bastia. If you can't name all, then give us one of the electricity companies listed on the exchange. And we know they are in the region in our ECCU. So you can probably just give yours, your own electricity company, and let's see if that's correct. So Bastia.
Sorry, Bastia High School, we're not hearing you clearly. Can you try one more time? And if not, we'll have to move on to the next person. We're not hearing you. If you can move closer to your mic, perhaps.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear. Thank you.
We have the Dominica Electricity Services, Grenada Electricity Services. Oh, sorry, let me say it. We also have Skelec. Can you? That's
I think
it.
you got two. You gave us Dominica Electricity Services, Domlec.
Yeah, and Skelec.
Grenada Electricity Services, Grenlec. And there's one more. It wasn't the one that you
Skelec.
Not Skelec.
Okay, let's try Anna Henry for that last one.
St. Vincent Electricity Company.
No, not yet.
Let's try CCSS.
Lucilec?
Very good. Yes. So the third one is Lucilec. So we have Domlec, Grenlec, and Lucilec listed on the exchange thus far. Yeah. So at this point, Yuluka, I think we'll take questions for the entire session.
Okay, we'll
for
just
this section.
we'll open up for a few questions because we do want to make sure that you all get a little break, 10-minute break, so you can get back and we can go into the more details on the competition side. But we will allow for maybe 3 questions, and you can ask questions on any of what was presented before. So I will let one of the brokers, because they're licensed to provide financial advice, answer that question. I will just say in general, it's very difficult to give a blanket statement because each investor will have different goals. They will have a different financial status. They will have a different risk aversion. So some of them may be fine with investing in more risky securities versus others. So it really depends on the individual, and that's why it is encouraged that you have a conversation with your broker so that then you all could work out what is the best option for you based on your needs and your financial goals, as well as your financial situation. So it will differ by each individual. You can't just say, oh, well, this person invested in this, so let me invest in that too, because you may be in a different circumstance. But I'll let the brokers also add their 2 cents to this.
Okay, thank you so much.
I think you did a good job, Yuluka, at answering that question, because it is generally the way we respond to questions like those, because as you stated, each investor has a different tolerance for risk. And while we may see one incident on the market or one incident in the economy leading to one individual selling their shares, let's say there's one minor inconvenience and something happened to the company and they were unable to perform as well as they were performing previously for 1 year or 1 quarter, that would lead to one investor coming into us panicking and deciding, look, I need to sell this security, I need to get it off of my hands, and probably wanting to sell for little or nothing, right? And at the same time, another investor, perhaps with a more aggressive investor with probably a longer time horizon for investing, they would come in and they would actually be seeking out that same security. So while there would be individuals trying to sell, investors trying to sell and to get it off of their hands, on the other side of the coin, we have individuals looking for those securities. So it is really personal, a personal kind of situation when you're looking at the specific shares and stocks and instruments that you're investing in. And as well, people have different, some individuals may choose to invest in a company not because of solely the gains that they can make, but perhaps because they have some kind of sentimental value behind the company. Perhaps some relative of theirs work there, they help build the company also. So they may seek out those shares and it may not have been performing well at the time, but the decision wasn't solely based on performance of the company. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Kishel. I think that covers it thoroughly. Kietaro Thomas, and then we'll take the last question from Karen Lane. So Kietaro Thomas, then Karen Lane.
Good morning, Joseph Convent speaking. Is there a minimum amount needed to invest in the stock market?
What was the question, sorry?
Is there a minimum amount needed to invest in the stock market?
A minimum amount for the stock market, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so there isn't a minimum amount in terms of the investment, but there's a minimum number of shares that you can purchase. Right now, the minimum number of shares that you can purchase is 20. So of course, we saw when we were looking at the equity securities and the prices, we saw that the prices ranged from $1.30 all the way up to $60. So the value is not an issue, but the number of shares that you purchase is the minimum is 20. Yeah. So you multiply the 20 multiply by the price of the share, the price per share that you're looking to purchase.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Perhaps one of the brokers could also indicate about the debt securities, because I think there's a minimum for debt securities, right?
Excuse me. Yeah, there's a minimum for debt. It begins at $5,000, but that's only for the debt securities. For the equity securities, which are the shares in the companies, the minimum is 20 shares.
Excuse me?
Remus Sierra, you're saying something?
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is Remus Sierra representing Montserrat Secondary School. We are on lunch break, so we're going to get our lunch and come back. Is that all right?
Okay, if you can come back for the session, the competition session. Sure, that's fine. You can eat while you're listening to us, sure.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
No problem. Karen Lane is the last question. I hope I'm pronouncing your names correctly. My apologies if I'm not.
Yeah, you said that you can have stocks as collateral. So I was wondering what characteristics might a stock have that might make it a good as collateral, and how willing would most financial institutions be to accept stocks as collateral?
You had a question, Luca?
Yeah, are you going to answer the question? It's about collateral. They asked whether or not, because you had mentioned that banks will accept securities as collateral, so they wanted more information in terms of how willing will banks be to select to accept securities as collateral.
Okay. In the same way that the banks would accept any other asset, let's look at land, because remember the securities are assets, they can be used and they can be pledged. So in the same way that the bank would probably accept some land that you own as collateral for a loan, they would also accept securities that you own as collateral for a loan. Yeah, in most cases, they discount the value by a specific factor. So they'll do the same thing for the securities. But it is pretty easy and we do it quite often. Yeah, because remember the collateral is held or the securities will be pledged so that in the event that you are unable to meet the obligation, the loan payment over a period of time, I'm guessing, they have something that they can sell to recover the funds that they loan to you. So for land, let's say you were unable to make your payments, it will be easy for them to sell that property and recover their investment in you, in essence. So it's the same way with the shares or any other security, a debt security as well. If you are unable to meet your payments, they will just sell the securities, place them on the exchange, sell them and recover their costs in that way, recover the funds that they loan to you in that way on the market. But of course, you need to let your loans officer know that you are going to be using these securities. And he or she can just discuss it with a broker dealer because they generally need to have an idea of the value of the securities on the market and perhaps the book value as well, which is assets less liabilities divided by the number of shareholders. So they take these things into consideration and then they will give you an idea of what the value of that security is for collateral purposes. But it's pretty simple and we do it quite often.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that wraps up the question and answer, and we're just on 11 o'clock. So we're actually right on time. So what we're asking, so essentially, we had the session open to as many students as possible. The next session will be for the students participating in the competition and the teacher guides, because we're going to delve specifically into information related to the competition. So we'll now take a 10-minute break so people can stretch their legs, they can go to the washroom or whatever they need to do, and then we will get into that session. If there are other a wider group of students who need to leave and it's just the competition students that will remain, that's fine as well. We'll give that time now, so we'll start back at 11:10. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Morning. Morning, everyone, and welcome back. We know that you have lunch coming up, and so you'd like to get this session underway as soon as possible. I'm hoping that all of the schools are back, because we'd like to, even though there are quite a few schools, we have 34 schools that have confirmed their participation. Not all of there are a few schools indicated they would not be able to attend today, so they'll receive the recording. But we do wish to have some introductions. So for this portion of the introductions, I'm asking that we do it very quickly because it's a lot of schools. All you need to do is one student will say the name of the school and the name of the company, and just maybe 1 second or so just to say what they look forward to in this competition. So very, very short introductions. I see we have, I'm hoping everybody is back, so we can start. The introductions. I would have introduced myself earlier, so a lot of you would have seen my name, Yuluka Amni Brown, because I'm the one liaising by email, both with the ministries as well as with the schools. I've been doing some of the follow-up with the schools, and some of the other brokers in St. Lucia, Grenada, and St. Vincent have also been following up with the schools in their locations. But I'll start and get the ball rolling, hoping that the schools have returned. So again, we're doing the introductions. All we need is for one student to indicate the name of the school, the name of the company, and what they're looking forward to in the competition. Okay, so we're going to start, we're going to go alphabetically. So we're going to start with, I think there's one school from Anguilla. Hopefully they're back on. Anguilla, let's start with you.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Ajana Arundel, and I'm a part of the Rainbow City Anguilla investment team. And let's say the purpose. All right, so the purpose of us doing this is to gain an insight of how investment systems work and how we could use it in the future in case we have to invest in future businesses or corporations.
Okay, thank you. So there's one school out of Anguilla. Can we get Antigua now? I think there are two schools. I think one of them may not be on. So let's see. Do you have anybody from Anguilla?
Good morning. My name is Alana Rashad. Our group is named the Green Magnets Enterprise. Our purpose for this was to actually get a grasp on how to do stock exchange. Like, as future business people, we would want to know how to start early and to invest in ourselves and our businesses. And these are my other colleagues.
Great. Thank you for coming on board. Do we have any other schools from Antigua online? I know 1 or 2 of the schools couldn't make it today, but they'll receive the recording. If not, when we're going to Dominica.
I am from the Arthur Wauchon SDA Academy, and we expect to learn about investments and the market and economy. So we're really excited to learn all about these activities. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. Nice to meet you. Any other schools from Dominica online?
Good morning. I am representing the Dominica Community High School, and our business name is The Strategist. And we are expected to learn about investing and saving.
Nice. Nice. Any other schools from Dominica? No, we're supposed to have 4 of them.
My name is Shayna Basil. I'm from the Convent High School. I'm representing the CHS Communications Club. We wish to gain extensive information on investing, which we'll use in the future, and engage with our regional peers.
Great, thank you and welcome on board. Is it Fort School here? I'm seeing somebody mouthing as if they're speaking, but I'm not hearing. Kathleen Cornelius, but I'm not seeing the audio. Okay, what we'll do is we'll come back to you, okay? We'll come back to you and we'll go to Grenada. We have quite a lot of schools registered for Grenada. So make your introductions. Maybe I should. No, go ahead. Make your introductions, Grenada.
Hi, good morning. My name is Rihanna Hanny and I'm representing the Anglican High School. The name of our company is Anglican High School Angel Investors. We look forward to learning more about investing and saving, and also to know about our Caribbean markets that are open for investments.
Great, thank you. Welcome on board. Go ahead, Grenada.
Good morning, everyone. Karanja Wint here from St. Joseph Convent, St. George's. The students, unfortunately, are not able to be here because of a prior activity that we have today. But we are looking forward to learning and experiencing, not just for students alone, but for teachers, and also to be able to share this with the wider school community. Our school's name is St. Joseph Convent Investment Architects.
Okay, thank you. Continue.
Okay, good morning. My name is Sabra Noel. The school name is McDonald College. Temporary company name is MDC Futures. And during this competition, we heard about investments and profits. But during this competition, we also want to experience it, like really know what's going on and stuff. So we also want to invest and make a profit. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Welcome on board. Yes, Joycelyn Emmons. Go ahead.
Hello, good morning. I'm a student of the Grenada Boys Secondary School. The name of our team is Grenada GBSS Master Traders, and my name is Jaden Sepuri.
Nice, welcome on board. Next school.
Good morning. I am Rihanna Julian from Grenada Christian Academy, and our company name is GCA Scholars, and we joined this competition to learn more about trading and investments, and to use it in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome on board. Next school in Grenada.
Hello, good morning. We are the St. George's Institute, and our company name is Teenage Investment Trading Society, and our purpose is to educate ourselves about, trading on the stock market exchange and saving and accumulating funds.
Sounds good. Any more companies and schools from Grenada?
Good morning, yes. We're from the St. Joseph's Convent, St. Andrews, and my apologies, but the girls left. It's actually our lunchtime right now, and the girls left to go and purchase their lunch. They'll hopefully be back in a little while. But we are all interested in learning more about the investment process. We are excited to learn about it, and as a teacher myself, I'm also excited to go through the process with them and also learn about it. And my name is Karine Christopher.
Okay, great. Great to meet you. Any more schools from Grenada?
Yes, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I'm here on behalf of the Happy Hill Secondary School. I am Ms. Prosper, the assistant teacher. The students had an early dismissal, but they're listening in, and the others will be getting the recording. So the name of the team for the school is Happy Hill Secondary School Money Multipliers, and the children are excited to learn about how to invest and making it as practical as possible so that it can assist them in their educational journey and also in their own personal investing journey when it's finished. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome on board. Next school from Grenada. Okay, Presentation Brothers College. I see your mouth moving, but there's no audio. It seems like your audio is not enabled because I'm not
Can you hear me
seeing.
now?
Yes, yes.
Right, good morning. I'm from Presentation Brothers College. My team name is Finance Financial Traders. And our goal for this program is that we can educate ourselves and educate our students among us so that in the future we can be better traders and hopefully get a head start and gain first-hand experience.
Great. We hope that for you as well.
Hi, I'm Lenon Daniel.
There
I'm
we
from
go.
Westall Secondary School. Our name is Westall Trade Giants. I would like to enter this competition to learn about the investment process.
Good, thanks. Welcome on board. Okay, I think we are finished with the schools in Grenada. There's one school in Montserrat. We'll invite them to introduce themselves.
Good day. My name is Raimus here, representing the Montserrat Secondary School. Alongside, I have Antonio Gordon, Marian Gonzalez, Gerald Simpson, Rosalie Antoine, and Damian Martin. And our group name is MoneyGrams. And my fellow classmates and I are eager to learn how to become greater investments. In the future. Sorry, investors.
Nice, nice. Welcome on board. Sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. We're going to St. Lucia now. Any schools for St. Lucia?
Good morning. My name is Shanessa Joseph, and this is Report Comprehensive Secondary School in St. Lucia, and the temporary name of our team is VFCSS Invest. We are very excited to participate in this competition. We hope to gain knowledge on how to invest and get real-time experience that could help us with our future and our career paths. Thank you.
Great. Great to have you on board. Any other St. Lucian schools with us today?
We are from the Binfield Comprehensive Secondary School. Our company name is Money Matters, and our goal is to gain the most knowledge of investing and how to properly go about investing in our future as business students.
Okay, thank you and welcome on board. Next school from St. Lucia.
We are the Invest CCSS. Our purpose for taking part in this competition is that we wish to gain a wider knowledge about stock exchange and stock market, and also how we are able to invest and save.
Okay, nice. Welcome on board. I think we are now to St. Kitts and Nevis. There's a bit of an echo.
Sorry
Mhm.
about that. We had some difficulties, but
No
we
problem.
are here on behalf of the Immaculate Conception Catholic School. I am Louis Munoz. I am the leader of the group. With this, our team name is 4K Traders, and we are ready to learn how to safely invest and make money off of trading online.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
welcome on
Thank you
board.
for having us.
Great. Next school, St. Kitts Nevis.
Good morning.
We started here. Sorry, we started hearing you, but we're not hearing you anymore. Can you come a little closer to the mic? Okay, welcome on board. We had a little difficulty hearing you, but welcome on board. Next school out of St. Kitts and
Hi, good morning. My name is Anapadi and I'm from the Catholic School. This initiative will be a gateway to allowing myself and my fellow team members to learn key concepts about investing. We hope that we will be able to gain a wealth of information that would allow us to create investment opportunities when we become adults. Thank you.
Okay, nice.
And our name, Innovative Traders, sorry.
Okay, thank you. I see Washington Archibald on video. Go ahead.
Hi, we are the Washington Archibald High School, and our business name is the Young Kitchen Investors. Our purpose or our goal is to learn more about investing and gain exposure to how stocks and securities are used, bought, or sold.
Okay, thank you and
Thank you.
welcome on board. Next school, St. Kitts Nevis.
Good morning. My name is Adrian Wilkin, and I am representing the VHS High School. Our name is the VHS Hark Investors, and we would like to learn about how the stock market works and building an investment portfolio. Thank you.
Great. Next school, St. Kitts Nevis. We have a few more schools in St. Kitts Nevis, so just keep it rolling after. Any more schools on with us? No? Okay, St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Sorry about that, I didn't know I was muted. Good morning, my name is Tyrone Johnson from the St. Vincent Grammar School. The name of our organization is the FCGS Traders. Now, apart from winning, our reason for entering this competition is to learn more about investing and how to become better investors in the future.
Okay, nice. Welcome on board. Next school from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Okay, perhaps some of the schools are still to join us for the session. Thank you for the somebody saying something?
Yes, from St. Vincent.
Okay, go ahead.
Good morning. We represent the Western George Secondary School. Our motto name is the Priceless Pennies Security Traders. Our experience we hope to gain from this trading activity is, as business students, we are willing to gain a better understanding of security and the markets, or our generation of wealth and how it works to gain more opportunities in the future.
Okay,
Thank you.
good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, so I wanted to have oh, there's another one. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Aaron from the St. Martin Secondary School. I am representing the SMSS Investors Group, and we are all looking forward to learning more about investment and all the challenges in investing.
Okay, sounds good. We'll move on. We don't want to run out of time. So we were going to have the introduction of brokers as well. What I'll do is leave that till the end, so we can get into the meat of the presentations. And once we have time, then we'll have the introduction of the brokers. It's good to see all the students on board. We are looking forward to this competition. We will have an evaluation survey, feedback survey for you all to submit, both the schools, the Ministry of Education, and the teachers, just to let us know how we can do better in the future, because we would like to do this annually. But let's get straight into the presentation. The next presentation actually is me. I will just go through an overview of the competition rules. I'm going to go through pretty quickly, because all of these rules are contained within the competition guidance document that all of you should have a copy of. I just wanted to pull out and highlight some of the things just to remind you to bear these things in mind. So let me just find my presentation and share the screen. Okay, you seeing the screen okay? Everybody seeing? Oh, okay, great. Okay, so in terms of the areas I want to highlight, so we already know, although there were a few misunderstandings, so I just wanted to clear that up, that in terms of the eligible participants, it's 3rd through 5th form secondary school students and 1st year 6th form colleges in the ECC, college students in the ECCU. So of course, the school has the option of choosing within that eligible group which students they'd like to participate. It's one group per school, and there's a maximum of 6 students, a minimum of 4 students, a maximum of 6 students per group. Now, there are countries like Anguilla and Montserrat where there are only 2 schools in those countries that are eligible to participate. So we did have information in the guidance document that for whatever reason, if there's only 1 school that is able to participate, they can opt to either forego the intra-country portion and go straight to the regional portion, or they can enter up to 3 groups from that school. So that's the only little caveat to that particular section. And it just so happens that both Anguilla and Montserrat have 1 school participating, and they opted to forego the intra-country portion and go straight to regional. Format of the competition, each group, and we'll get into more details in terms of what's expected in the next presentation. But essentially, format of the competition, the intra-country competition starts next week. Each group will start off with a notional amount of $50,000 in funds. And for the regional competition, it will be slightly different, to where the value of their portfolio will be $50,000 each of them, but that will be made up with cash and different securities. So they will start off with the same value portfolio with different securities and a different level of cash. The market will operate. So in this case now, we learned a lot about the different types of securities available on the securities market. But for this competition, in order for us to, because it's only a week-long competition, and for us to be able to evaluate the value of the portfolios, we're only going to be using stocks for this particular competition. So there are 8 company stocks that will be listed on the securities market. And those are the stocks that you will be investing in for this competition. So the intra-country portion of the competition is next week, 20th to the 24th of February. The expectation is that you'll meet daily and agree on a purchase or sale of securities. your meeting time, it could differ. So it could be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, is up to the school and how much you have to discuss. There will be a market news bulletin issued daily. It may or may not influence any of your decisions, but we will have a market news bulletin just to give you a feel of some of the things you may take into consideration when you're investing in a company. To email and put your, so once you've decided and made a decision on what securities you'd like to either purchase or sell, you will then complete the sales order forms. We would have sent you a copy. We will send it again because we do have the company profiles to send you. We have the recording to send you and the slides of this presentation. So we'll also resend all the forms in one email, so at least it'll be easier to access. There's also a confirmation email that will be, so you have up until 5 p.m. So note that daily to submit your forms. We will send out a contact sheet because we've assigned brokers to schools. So you will just look for your name of your school and the company, and you'll see which broker you are assigned to and all their contact information. So you would submit your purchase and sale order forms to that email address, and you'll have the phone number in case of anything. And that broker will then place your trades the next morning. The market is open from 9 to 11 daily. And then they will send you confirmation by 12:30 the following day. An investment sheet will also be provided so you can keep track of your portfolio. All of the details as to how to fill out those forms, which was sent to you already, will be dealt with in the next presentation. In terms of the evaluation, so at the end of the week, and once you'll have submitted all of your the information sheet, you all would have we'd have the information regarding the trade order forms. We will evaluate the value of the portfolio. So that's all the cash and securities, what it's worth. 80% of the weighting goes to the value of your portfolio, and then 20% of the weighting goes to your evaluation trade notes. So on each of the purchase and sell order forms, there's a little area that you complete to indicate why you'd like to purchase or sell. So what is the reasons for your investment to purchase or sell specific securities? So that rationale will also be weighed in for the evaluation, 20% weighting. And a group in each of the 8 countries. So in Grenada, we have lots of schools participating, but only one school in Grenada will move on to the regional competition, because essentially we'd like a representative. So one school per country will be represented in the regional competition to vie for the regional champion prize. Same information as was articulated for the intra-regional competition, same expectations. The only difference, as mentioned, is the portfolio will be a little different. It wouldn't just be cash to begin with, it will be cash and securities. The judging of the regional championship is a little longer, the judging period, because for the regional championship, in addition to what you would have submitted for the intra-country championship, you also would we also would like you to submit a little video. In the competition document, it gives you an idea of what we'd like in that video, and that video will be evaluated. So once the competition ends on the, I think it's from the 6th to the 10th of March, then you have a week from that time. So on the 17th of March to submit that video, and then the evaluation will take place after. We haven't yet determined the date for the awards, so that will be determined once we determine the winners, we determine logistics, etc. We will then let you know more details in terms of the prize giving ceremony. In terms of the awards, we had mentioned in-country winners will receive a plaque of recognition for their win to be showcased at their school, and each student participant will receive a gift bag with ECSE and broker items. The overall champion will receive $5,000 toward the school, which will be used to invest in securities of their choice. So the school can start investing on the market and growing and building their wealth. Cash prize of $150 for each of the student participants, certificates of participation and recognition for the students and teachers, and there'll be a rotational trophy. Okay, so I know I went through that quickly, but all of this information is in the competition guidance document. I just wanted to pull that information out for you. As I said, some of the details in terms of what's expected for your daily meetings and submissions will be dealt with in the next presentation. However, if you have a question outside of that you'd like to ask now, feel free. I see Irene B. Williams has a question.
You stated that there was supposed to be a video. How long is that video that we're supposed to do?
So we'll send you, so we don't have the length of it now, but it will be very short. We will send you those details subsequently before the regional championship starts, because that will just be for the regional championship portion. So those details will be provided. We already have a general area of what should be covered, but we will give you something a little more detailed prior to your submission.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we move on to the other presentation? Okay. All right, so I'm going to invite another one of our broker representatives.
Excuse me?
Hi.
This is Montserrat speaking. One question. Companies will we be able to invest the money in?
I didn't understand the question. I'll hear it properly.
Will we be able to invest the money in?
Okay, so good question. So I had mentioned there are going to be 8 companies that we have created for this competition. You haven't received the company profiles yet. You will receive that along with the video and everything. So between this afternoon and first thing tomorrow morning, you will receive the company profiles so that you can see which companies are listed on the securities. There'll be 8 companies. And those are the ones that you're going to be investing in for the purpose of this competition. We decided to use fictitious companies because we didn't want you to mix up the market news items, etc., for the real companies listed on the exchange. So we've created companies specifically for this competition. Okay, so I'll invite Gail Cumberbatch to now get into the meat of the expectations, and then we can open up for more questions and clarifications going forward. Although I see a hand up, so let's take that quickly first. TCSS.
Excuse me, you were breaking up for us. What company are we investing in?
Oh, so I had mentioned that there are 8 companies that we have created for the purpose of this competition, and you'll receive the company profiles, the names, the trading code, and details of the company. We will submit that to you either by end of day today or first thing tomorrow morning, along with the recording and all the other forms. You would have received some of the forms before, but we sent everything again in one file. So you have all the information in one email. I see another question. Jada?
So do we for the business, so we invest to like create our own business?
No, you're investing in the securities. So the objective of this competition, I didn't highlight that, is wealth creation. So obviously it's over a short period of time. Generally, as an investor, you have a longer period of time, so you could diversify your portfolio at long term versus short term. But this is going to all be stocks, and the objective is to grow the $50,000 that you're getting initially as much as you can, because the biggest portion of the valuation will be based on the value of your portfolio at the end. So how much money overall that you have, and then another portion of it will be based on what is your rationale for some of the investment decisions that you made, just to get a sense of whether you understand some of the reasons why you should invest in certain things, etc. Just to get your viewpoint on that. But majority of it will be based on the value of the portfolio. So how much did your money grow from $50,000? The expectation hopefully is that it grows, and the school with the highest value, as well as a good investment decisions, will be adjudged the overall winner for the intra-country portion. And then we'll same for the regional, except that the weighting for the value is a little less. And then we have that video submission for the regional competition where 8 schools will be participating, 1 school per country.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, Gail, I'll let you, Gail Cumberbatch of First Citizens Investment Services will now take you through what is expected, and then we can have answer further questions. Go ahead, Gail.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Gail Cumberbatch, and I'm from First Citizens Investment Services located in St. Lucia. And today, well, right now, we're gonna just go into the meat of the competition, what your daily activities are going to be during the next week or so. Let me just share my screen here. So as mentioned earlier, we're going to have daily meetings. Your daily meetings, the time, the length, it all depends on your group and what should you be discussing during this meeting. So these meetings are to decide what companies are you going to invest in, how much are you going to buy, for how much stocks are you going to buy. Basically, the first meeting is to create your portfolio. Right, so like Lucas said a while ago, there are 8 fictitious companies. You will receive the profiles soon. So you want to look at what type of company it is, what industry. Is it a utility company? Is it a retail company? Is it a technology company? So all these things will be in your profile. You want to look at the company's financials as well. Are they making profits? Because like we said, the whole purpose of this competition is to grow your $50,000. So you don't want to invest in a company that is not profitable. We got a whole lot of information earlier about how you can benefit from stocks. And the 2 ways would be capital gains. So you purchase your stock at a certain price. For example, let's just say we purchase Lucelec stocks at $10, and in the next 2 days or so, we can sell it for $15. So we gain a profit or a capital gain of $5. So that's one way to increase our portfolio value. And the second one is receiving dividend payments. So dividend payments is basically part of the profits the company gives to the shareholders. So when you purchase a stock in a company, you become a part owner. At the end of every year, the company's financials are reviewed, and there's a decision whether dividends payments will be made to our shareholders and how much will these dividends be. So that's another way to grow your portfolio, by receiving dividend payments. So we want to look at the company type. Are they making profits? What their dividend policy is. So some companies have different policies, which would guide them as to, are they going to pay dividends and how much dividends are they going to pay? So how much of their profits will be used to reinvest in the company, and how much will be used to how much will be given to their shareholders. So you all want to take a look at that as well. Another thing that would affect the price of the stocks is market news. So every day you will receive some market news for our fictitious companies. So the news may not affect the price. It may affect the price. For example, if we say that we have a telephone company, and their competitor says they are lowering their rates and they're providing more for their service. So how would that affect your company? Will they make profits? Will their customers migrate to the new company? These are the things we need to discuss at our meetings. Price per share. The price per share is basically how much you would pay for one stock in that company. So that's what that is. And as mentioned earlier, we would like to have a diversified portfolio. So we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. We have 8 companies. I think all of them might be of different industry and type. So we wouldn't want to place all our eggs, our entire portfolio in just 1 or 2 companies. What if something happens and that company is negatively affected and cannot pay dividends or doesn't make a profit in the next 2 or 3 years? How would that affect your entire portfolio? So you want to ensure that your portfolio is diversified to reduce the risk of loss in there. So the daily meetings are very important. I think the first one may be the longest one because that's where you're actually creating your portfolio. If you're $50,000, we want to review the companies extensively and write down reasons as to why you're purchasing the stocks, why you're purchasing that much in one company. And basically that will be the start of your competition. So we've had our meeting, we've decided to purchase our stocks, we've decided to divide our money in such a way. The next step would be to complete the purchase order form. So I have an example of a purchase order form here, which would be submitted in the package. So in that form, this is the form that will be sent to your broker dealers to place your trades. So for each trade, so each company you'd like to buy, you would need to fill out one of these forms. So you'd first want to put the name of your group, which I must say they were very creative. I was very impressed by all the names. Then you'd want to put the name of your school right here and the name or the description of the security. That would be the company's name. So out of the 8 fictitious companies, the name of the company you want to put here. Then we have our order price range, right? So we would see the price per share, but it is a market. So you would put a range as to the minimum amount you're willing to pay for that security and the maximum you'd like to pay for that security. Using the same LuCelect example, LuCelect $10 per share. But you know what, depending on the profile, I think I would want to pay a minimum of $8 per share and a maximum of $10 per share. So any price I get within that range, I would purchase. So that's what you would put here. What is your order price range? Okay. Next, you'd want to put the quantity. How many shares would I like to purchase? Do I want to purchase 1,000 shares, 2,000 shares, 50 shares? So you put your quantity here. Trade amount. Your trade amount would be your price per share multiplied by your quantity. Now we're putting a range here. So you would also have your range. So it would be 8 times, let's say 10, 80 to 10 times 10, 100. So basically that would be your price per quantity. It would be price times quantity slash for your minimum and maximum here. And the next line is very important as well, the reasons for purchasing this security. So in this section here, you'd want to list the reasons for the decisions that you all have made. And also mentioned earlier, investors are all different. They have their different goals, different places in life. As much as your portfolio might be the same, one investor might invest in a security because they like what the company is doing for the country. They always give back. You know, it could be a sentimental reason. Another reason could be strictly financial. Another reason could be you're expecting their profits to grow in the future because of what's happening in the industry currently. So in this section here, you'd want to list the reasons why you're purchasing this security. Okay, and this section here, also you'd want to put your order number. Is this your first order on day one? This would be order number 1. So you'd name your orders just to keep track of them. And this section here, you'd want to put your security trading symbol. So you'd want to put the symbol for the company that's being traded. That will also be provided in the company's profiles. And we sign here for representatives can sign on these lines. So that's the only areas where you need to populate. The balance will be populated by your broker dealer. So we've had our meeting, we've decided on what securities we're purchasing. We have filled out our purchase order form. The next step would be to email the form to our respective broker dealers, right? And the email has to be sent before 5 p.m. So whatever time is your meeting, if it's at lunchtime, that's fine, but y'all can send the email right away, but it has to be sent before 5 p.m. Okay, once we've done this, we complete our investment sheet, right? So this is what the investment sheet looks like. We'll put our group name, the name of our school, right? And then the date, the first date would be the 20th of February, the security name, the name of the company, the symbol, how many shares we decided to purchase, and at what price, and the total trade amount and your balance. So for the first day, you purchase 50, your balance will be 50. If on the second day, you purchase an additional 100 in that same security, you would complete the line here. I purchased 100 at whatever price. This was the total trade. My new balance would be 150. So the balance is basically the amount of that particular security you have in your portfolio, right? And then if any dividends were paid, you will put it here. If there was any gains or losses, you would put it here. But for the first day, you're just purchasing your shares, so there wouldn't be any gains or losses or any dividends earned. So day number 2 and moving forward, day number 2, 3, 4, 5, sorry, 2, 3, 4, we would have the option to buy or sell. So we have our daily meeting. We see what's happening in the market news provided on that day. We have our discussions, what we think is going to happen. Should we sell these securities? Should we buy some more? Should we, hold some money in cash because the market is risky, and then we can either make our decisions, complete our purchase order form, or if we'd like to sell, we complete our sell order form, right? So it's similar to the purchase order form, but instead of buying our securities, we are selling it. So we're going to use a sell order form. So put the name of our group, the name of our school, the security name that we're selling, the company's name, our sell price range, which is similar to the purchase price range. I bought my Low Select shares for $10. I'm willing to sell it at between $11 and $15. So anywhere between that, because I want to make a profit, that's where we would put our price range here. Amount that we want to sell, number of shares that we want to sell, we included here. The trade amount, price multiplied by quantity. Just like the purchase order form, we'll do the range. And the reasons for selling our security, we would like to list it here. We got market news that this was going to happen. We thought that we would get a higher price for our security. We put it in here. These are the reasons. We put our symbol, our sell order number, and we sign at the X's. So just like your purchase order, the following days, whichever purchase order or sell order forms need to be emailed to your broker dealers by 5 p.m. Okay, so once that is done, you add it to your investment sheet. We have the second example here where we're selling. So we have our company name, the dates, company name, symbol. In the sell section here, we decided to sell 200 shares at a price of $8. Our trade amount, price multiplied by quantity, 1,600. We have a balance of 100. So the example here was that we purchased 300 of this company in the first day. We decided to sell 200. So we have a balance of 100. During that time, we received dividends of $20. So we made a gain. Oh, we purchased it at $5. That was the assumption I left out. So we purchased 300 shares at $5, and we decided to sell 200 of these shares at $8 per share. We have a balance of 100 shares. We received dividends of $20. So the gain we got from selling the shares, we bought it at $5, we sold it at $8. So we made a $3 per share gain. So $3 multiplied by 200 shares is 600 plus our $20 dividend payment. So in this section here, because of this transaction, we gain $620. I hope that makes sense. Let me go through it again. So our assumption is on the first day, we purchased 300 shares at $5. We decided to sell 200 shares at $8, making a profit or capital gain of $3 per share. $3 multiplied by 200, we got a gain of $600 in this transaction. We have a balance of 100 left, and we got $20 dividends during the time we held the security. So our total gain is our 600 plus our $20 dividend payment, $620. Anybody have any questions at this time? I have one more slide to go, so let me just see. Okay, I see Alexander, Deanne, sorry. Not sure if I'm pronouncing correctly.
All right, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Okay, my question is, you state that in filling out the form to send to the broker, you're putting a minimum and a maximum. So in order to fill up the investment sheet, are we using the data that is returned from the broker? Because that would be the very
Yes, I think I missed that part. So the next morning, the broker will put in your trade and they will send you a confirmation that your trade has been completed. That's a very good question. Thank you for that. So the next day, they'll put in the trade. You'll get your confirmation saying that your trade was put through and at what price it was put through. So that's the price you'd want to put in your investment sheet. Okay, we have any other questions? All right. Okay, Joseph, Charles?
Sorry, I'm not sure if we missed this, but will we be given tools for analysis like line charts or maybe candlestick charts?
Tools like what? Sorry, could you say that one more time?
For analysis, so like line charts or candlestick charts.
We would provide an extensive company portfolio profile. So the profiles will have everything, all the information about the company, their financials, their industry. You can feel free to do your own research in order to complete the reasoning part, the qualitative aspect of it. We will provide the daily market news for each company. I think that's about it. Once y'all receive the profiles, y'all could go through it and see their financials, what are the plans, and if you want to do any industry assessments, y'all can feel free to use additional information for your research. Okay, Karen, Lane.
Yeah, is there a minimum amount of shares that have to be purchased?
Well, I think we have a minimum amount of 20 on the ECSC. You look at, does this apply in this scenario?
We didn't consider that. We didn't have any maximum minimums for this particular activity.
Actually,
Mhm.
yeah, because we are mirroring what's happening in the
So we should use the 20 minimum.
Same parameters included in the minimum, yeah.
Okay. So yes, the minimum is 20 shares. So we're gonna use the 20 share minimum. And remember, you have $50,000 to invest. Okay, sorry?
No, I was just saying thank you for clearing that up.
That was a good question. Thank you for that. I think somebody else had their hand up. Rima?
Yes, out of the eight,
To just lower your speaker. Yeah, just lower your speaker.
ma'am.
Colleagues are logged in as well.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's because you're logged in the same room, so maybe you can use one
go ahead.
one computer.
Yeah, is it are y'all listening to me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
So this you said that y'all going to send us 8 companies. Can we only invest in one or all?
No, we're gonna send all 8 company profiles. So you
Okay.
can invest in all.
Okay.
Okay, so submissions. So just a reminder that all sale order and purchase order forms have to be submitted to your broker by 5 p.m. daily. The investor sheets should be submitted before 5 p.m. on the last day of the competition. So for the inter-country competition, the last day is Friday, February 24th. And for the interregional competition, the last day is March 10th, Friday, March 10th. So on the last day, you will submit your investor sheets by 5 p.m. And for the regional competition, the interregional competition, your presentation video should be submitted on March 17th, like Lucas said, sorry. So if we have any other questions, I think at this time we'll open the floor to any questions about the competition, about the presentations from before, to clarify any issues that you may have. We have somebody with their hand up. Go ahead.
Okay, just to ensure that I heard you clearly, the investment sheets would be submitted by Friday the 24th to our broker.
Yes, to the broker.
Right, so that means we will not be trading on Friday, because if we have to trade on Friday and we get in a response the next day, does that mean we're not most likely not trading on that day?
Yeah, look up. I think they are.
Because we'd have to wait for the response from the broker to add to our investment sheet. So
Yeah, you're not paying, then we will have all information regarding what you're investing in anyway, but we just want to also receive the investment sheet just to get a sense of whether you understood the exercise, and also we could utilize, back check that what you have and what was traded. But all information, we have the information because we know what you're trading. But it's just sort of to get a sense of whether you understood the exercise. So yes, you wouldn't have that last bit of information, but you still expected to submit it by 5 p.m. what you have up to that point.
Thank you
So
for the
to
clarity.
clarify, yeah, so to clarify, there will be trading on the last day. So you can, but in order, once you submit your purchase order, sale order forms, you just submit the investment sheet as well. So for the last transaction, we will have that information. So if you're missing anything, we can include it for the assessment. We should check the chat. Okay, just checking the chat. Are the brokers already assigned to each school? Yes, they are. And that will be forwarded as well. Okay.
Yes, the reason why we haven't sent you all that yet, because we had a few last minute entrants. So we had to keep changing. But we'll get that information to you along with the company profiles, the slides, and the video for the presentation.
So I don't think anybody else has any questions. I think it's lunchtime. So Yuluka?
Yes,
I'll
well,
hand it over to you.
thank you to all of you who participated. I know it's been a long morning, lots of information. So we'll endeavor to get the slides and the video to you as soon as possible. If not by end of day today, early tomorrow morning. So you can go through, refresh your memory if you have any other questions. And if you have questions at all throughout, feel free to liaise with myself or because George, all of you should have my email information, I believe, or what we are broker if you have any additional questions throughout. Okay. Yeah, so you should expect to receive those soon, and we will send you a copy of the slides and the video so that you have that to reference throughout the competition. Thank you so much for sacrificing this time. Teachers, thank you for your dedication. Ministry of Education, thank you for your assistance. And of course, we all are doing this for the benefits of the students because this is part of their education and learning process. And it also will help them to become more better investors in the future. So thank you so much. I see one hand raised, Alexander.
Oh, sorry, some of my teachers were interested or in the stock market because they have heard about it, but they're not sure how it operates. So would we as teachers be given an opportunity to get an understanding of the stock market for teachers who want to invest? Because they were asking me, and I said to them, after the training, I'll be able to give them a little more enlightenment. Or can you send a list of brokers maybe on Caribbean countries that they can look at if they want to invest or find out information, so the adults here can, get themselves knowledgeable about the stock market?
Well, both the ECSC and the brokers are open to providing education sessions, so we can arrange to do that for the teachers. In the meantime, if you check out the ECSC website, ecsconline.com, it provides you information on the securities listed. There are some brochures which gives you an idea of frequently asked questions, so you can get a better sense of what it's all about. But you can also liaise with, what country are you calling from?
Grenada.
Right, so there's a broker right there in Grenada, Grenada Corp Bank. So you can just get in touch with the broker and let them know you'd like a session for your teachers, and we could organize some sort of education session for the teachers. So that is something that we are willing and open to do.
Thank you so much.
Okay, no problem. Any other questions before we end? Thank you. And I hope, this is the first time we're doing this competition. We hope that it comes off really well. And of course, we will have an evaluation so that we can continue to keep improving on this. And we wish the students all the best. We hope it's exciting for you and it's something that, you know, you would gain a lot of knowledge, and you perhaps a few of you may end up having a career in investing in the industry and field. Okay. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful lunch. Sorry to take away some time from your lunch, and a wonderful rest of the day. And you know how to contact us. We will send a contact sheet with the brokers, and I'll also include my information in the event you have sort of an admin type question, so you can liaise with me as well. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.